Okay, thank you very much for that. Let's now turn our attention to the real estate and housing space. Despite a global economic headwinds, there have been layoffs by several large and small corporates. The Indian housing market continues to remain very resilient. Quarterly housing data shows that in Q1 of this calendar year, Jan to March period, the housing sales are at a record high level, at least compared to the last decade, with more than 1 lakh units sold across the top 7 cities. This is the research coming out of ANAROCK. So talk more about the trends. We're joined by Abhishek Kapoor, CEO of Puravankara and Anuj Puri, the chairman of ANAROCK Property Consultants on the show. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining in. Mr. Puri, if I may start with you, can you give us details about what has happened in the current quarter, Q1, across geographies, across segments?
You're absolutely right, is that it has been a stunning quarter of this calendar year, the Q1. It is never in the last 10 years, we've seen 1.14 lakh units of residential being sold in just one quarter. 2022, we thought was a record quarter when about 99,000 units were sold in that quarter. But this quarter has done exceptionally well. Bombay and Pune are 50% of the market. The rest of the cities are the balance 50%. But what is interesting is that when you actually start to peel the onion, the affordable housing sale has gone down and the mid segment to premium has really picked up. The luxury, on the other hand, both in Bombay and Delhi has done an exceptional number. On the other side, if you were to look at the launches, so this was on the sale side, launches also, we have seen record number of launches that have been done. Again, over 100,000 units that were launched for the Q1 of this calendar year. And again, 50% of that is coming in from Bombay and Pune.
All right, that point is taken. And, especially the part where you're talking about how luxury sales are doing very well. Perhaps the mid-segment is not doing as well. We had that viral picture of DLF where flats over 7 crores are just, flying off the shelves. Mr. Kapoor, if I can come to you first, since, we are talking about how maybe the mid-segment is not doing quite as well. Can you take us through what demand is looking like overall? And you also had the recent Purva Oakshire project. I believe that one has done really well and, with sales of over 100 crores over there as well. So if you can just take us through a little bit of what demand is looking like and what you're expecting in terms of sales value.
I quite agree with what Anuj said. If you look at our Provident Housing and Puravankara sales, the numbers have been quite staggering even for us. Last quarter normally is the best quarter of the year across the sector, being end of the financial year as well. So in the same direction, I think the business has done very well. And you were right, Oakshire is a plotted development, which we recently launched. It's a little over 30-acre plotted development. And on the first weekend, we had more than 100 crores of sales. I guess we will be sold out very shortly. So it's done very, very well for us. As a trend, what we are seeing is both sustenance and new launches have continued to see significant traction, though most of our launches have been in the southern markets, all in Bangalore and in Chennai, largely. But all of these projects have done quite well, including sustenance and new launches. And we're seeing that strong demand continuing as of now.
So do you have any kind of estimates of, what you're expecting in terms of sales value for the next year, for the coming year, that is, for FY24, if you can take us through that?
Look, I can't give you a guidance number, as you know, but what I can share with you is that we will be adding another total of 14 million square foot of new launches in the next financial year. We've already added about 6 million in the last financial year, including the 2 million in this quarter. And you would typically see that when you add this kind of volumes, given the fact that today the demand-supply gap is absolutely there, we are down to less than a year's inventory across the board, across the country. In terms of sales, we expect that these new launches will continue to support our growth in terms of sales number in the next year as well.
Okay, interesting. So just to press that point further, what is, Abhishek, the growth divergence, if any, between your luxury segment and between the mid-level? Because the one concern that obviously does around pretty common sense one is that there's some sentimental shift happening now, particularly in the IT sector, a little more sort of concern given everything that's happening in the US market, for instance. So is there any risk to the growth prospects for the mid-income segment? Just give us the growth rates between luxury and the middle.
See, I'll share with you that we have not seen much of a difference in terms of absorption or demand for our mid segment, which is Provident Housing. All of these projects have continued to see buoyant demand. In fact, sustenance numbers have been quite well. And a large amount of new launches we are doing next year are in the same segment. And see, if you look at what's happening in the marketplace is the consolidation is still playing out. There is still a journey to go as far as consolidation is concerned. And I believe that the organized branded players will continue to gain market share. And hence, we see that this market will continue to do very well. What you will also see is that below 35 lakhs, which is not a part of our portfolio though, which is really the affordable housing category, is actually what is suffering the most in the marketplace. And, I quite subscribe to that supply and demand will continue to suffer for some time.
Well, as they say, right, there is never a recession with the rich. So the premium luxury segment continues to do well, even if the interest rates have started biting the lower end of the economy and hurting the lower end of the segment sales. But Mr. Puri, there is a possibility of a stamp duty hike in Maharashtra. Have you heard any chatter on that front, and will it hurt demand?
So I haven't heard any chatter, and I hope it doesn't happen. If it does happen, certainly it will impact the demand. Clearly we had seen when the stamp duty had gone down during the COVID, there was a huge rush of sales, and the activity had brought in more revenue to the exchequer by having reduced the stamp duty. So I hope that they don't go ahead and increase the stamp duty from where it is today. But I do want to subscribe to one point which Abhishek said is, and I think you're going to see more and more of this coming out, is that, in the consolidation phase, the good quality developers, the reputed developers, both listed and unlisted leading developers will take in more and more market share. And the data that is showing to us is that, 4 or 5 years ago, their share of the total sale was 17%. And today that has escalated to 30%. So, clearly they are benefiting not only from the growth in the market, but also from consolidation by eating somebody else's lunch.
Anuj, hi. So, running a little short on time because of some breaking news on the show. But, put it in context for us. Over the next 12 months, as the economy undergoes uncertainty in India and around the world, A, do you think real estate will keep showing the kind of smart, strong growth rates that we've seen? And B, which do you think will be the hottest markets in terms of pricing? Give us a sense of pricing. I mean, pre-COVID till now, where has the appreciation been the highest? And which pockets do you expect will see more price hikes?
So clearly it is Navi Mumbai that we're starting to see a huge amount of price appreciation. And this is largely led by the infrastructure, the new airport that is coming up. A lot of the people have started to move towards the Navi Mumbai belt, Panvel belt, where the new airport is likely to come in at the end of next year. So that belt has done well. Bangalore continues to surprise us. It is a very strong market. Despite the news that we're getting on the IT world and job cuts, the sales in Bangalore continues to remain very strong. NCR, Gurgaon, I would pick up as a market, not necessarily Noida. So those are three markets, Navi Mumbai, Bangalore, and Gurgaon. Pune has consistently, right through the COVID and post-COVID, continues to do exceptionally well. So those would be the markets that I'll pick up. Going forward, next 12 months, I do feel some challenge will come in because, with the mortgage rates continuing to go up, and if the global, economy goes into a recession, India is not going to be insulated. We will see some tremors come up here as well. So there is a possibility that we may see some negative impact come on the housing sector. But perhaps that is largely going to be in the affordable and not in the premium luxury or the mid-level segment.
All right, we take that point and we will have to leave it at that. Gentlemen, thank you both very much for joining us and taking us through this chat on how real estate demand is really looking, where you're seeing a bulk of it come through and how it could move. And I think the view is pretty much, standard across the board that the luxury segment continues to do very well. While maybe there's a little bit of pressure that is coming through in the mid segment, which could, of course, get enhanced if we do see this recession that we've